Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, beautiful soul family, and welcome to Weekly Wisdom and Insights, your home for spiritually guided transformation and empowerment. I am your host, Dearjames, and together with the unseen, Spirit, Source, and Symphony, we look at the current energies, the intuitive wisdom and insights, and we go as guided. And as we begin 2025, we're going to cover, there's a lot to cover. So we're going to be working with some prominent themes all throughout 2025. The wind beneath your wings, or the wind beneath my wings. We have the elephant medicine. We have the colors red, yellow, and orange. We, of course, have the divine feminine. And then we have the Ankh and the capstone, the eye of providence, the all-seeing eye. These are going to be major themes that play out the entire year. And we're bridging from 2024 to 2025. There's a bridge element going on, which you'll see in the opening with the red. We finished 2024 with the red intro. We started 2025 with the red intro. This red, yellow, orange as we move. Welcome, Olivia. So we're moving. There's so much happening. And I'm going to start off, before we jump in, it's just going to set the tone. Welcome, Alicia. And I'm going to start the theme of today's show so you get just the overall of what's happening this year. And it's lyrics from the song Proud Mary by Ike and Tina Turner. And it says, you know, every now and then, I think you might like to hear something from us nice and easy. But there's just one thing. You see, we never, ever do nothing nice and easy. We always do it nice and rough. So we're going to take the beginning of this song and do it easy, but then we're going to do the finish rough. This is the way we do Proud Mary. The thing about the lyrics is this is an exact inverse of 2025. It's not that the beginning is going to be nice and easy, or that we're going to finish, we're going to begin nice and rough. We're going to finish nice and easy. So these first 3-4 months of 2025, the end of 2024, the beginning of 2025, nice and rough. There's going to be a lot of action. And let's just take a look at setting the stage. Let's take a look. The main energies on the first day of the year. So we had 1-1, welcome Colleen, 1-1, 2025, and 2025 is a 9-year, so we're in this completion. So we have double ones on the first of the year, the doubling of the creative force to initiate the divine masculine. The entire year is going to be about small restraint, surrender. And that's about walking in alignment. We have been talking about this from the get-go here on Weekly Wisdom and Insights, this Small restraint, surrender, surrendering to your soul, surrendering to that inner alignment of truth, of peace, of true north. The 1-1-9 became an 11, which is peace, relax. We're moving towards peace. We're going to finish nice and easy, peace. And then, of course, the 11, it's the most intuitive master number. When reduced, if you will, which you should never do with a master number, it becomes a 2. It's about the receptive, the divine feminine, and this reflecting on from the inside out. So this is 1-1. Then we come to today, the 8th of January, and you notice we're shifting from the red to the orange. The 1 continues, the creative, initiate. And then it's an 8. It's the holdover from last year, uniting, unite, this bridge. The 1 and 8 becomes a 9, small restraint, surrender. It's a 9 year. Those all add up to another 1, 8, and 18. The decay, we're repairing what's spoiled. So you can see there's 1s, there's 8s, and there's 9s here. And then again, we double down onto the small restraint, surrender. So there's a large message about harnessing our creative force, uniting from the inside out, utilizing and harnessing small restraint, surrender. It's taking each step. That's the real moral of the story, is when we continually align and we keep taking each step, nothing becomes overwhelming, nothing becomes too much, nothing becomes too great. We're just simply breaking down in the moment the next step. What's the next step? And we listen. The way we know that is to listen, so that everything is in alignment towards unity, uniting, towards peace, relax, towards harmony, so that we, quote unquote, finish this 9 year, it's completions, it's a cycle. We finish it nice and easy. It may be rough to start, but we finish it nice and easy. So, and let's look very quickly at the astrological influences, and you see the red and the orange. And I'll get to flashbang. The theme of these energies is flashbang. So on the 30th of December, there was the new moon in Capricorn. This new moon's going to arc out for a good 6 months. So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful new moon. On 1-1, we had the moon at conjunct Pluto. So the moon was at 0 degrees Aquarius, Pluto was at 1 degree, and they're opposite Mars retrograde at 1 degree Leo. This is the second time. It perfects on the 3rd of January, but the issue is that the moon on day 1 of the year, 2025, the moon was conjunct Pluto. So things that are hidden, things that will get revealed. Leo, divine masculine, fire energy. And so we have these elements. And again, this is the second time that Mars and Pluto are going to oppose one another. And then again in April, at the end of April. On the 3rd, Venus entered Pisces, 0 degrees. On the 6th, Mars retrograde leaves Leo, so it's at 0 degrees, and re-enters Cancer. And on 1-8, today, Mercury enters Capricorn. So you see all these zeros denoting new movements. And this happens much more frequently with the inner planets, the interpersonal planets. But the overall energies for the end of 2024, the astrological energies that are bridging into the beginning of 2025, flashbang. And so this goes to number 1 from the unseen. And I heard the song Bruce Springsteen's Blinded by the Light. And what this talks about, the lyrics to Blinded by the Light, says Bruce has talked about the song many times before, stating many of the references in the song are personal, including people he knew or had met on the boardwalks or had grown up around, or were just direct personal references to himself. So there's a Blinded by the Light that is talking to us about personal relationships, interpersonal experiences, things that are personal references to ourselves. There's going to be a lot of personal transformation, amplification, magnification, things that blinded by the light. And, it's like seeing the light. Celestial, there are 2 meteors that are going to be passing by. So celestial things that are happening, blinded by the light. Then I heard the word with number 1 from the unseen, flashbang. And flashbang, an explosive device that produces a blinding flash of light and a sudden, loud noise intended to temporarily stun, distract, disorient, and disperse people without causing serious injury. So we have a blinded by the light, flashbang, and then I heard the song, Cher covered it, but it's probably the most famous cover, but bang, bang, he shot me down. Bang, bang. So you can see right off the get-go, the first thing from the unseen, all these bridge elements from the as above, so below, the astrological elements taking place. Blinded by the light, flashbang, bang, bang, he shot me down. And this flashbang and bang, bang, it goes to the first Sabian symbol and that we're going to cover, which is by Saturn. And Saturn's the great teacher. And so for both the Capricorn new moon that was at the 30th of December, and then this Mars-Pluto opposition conjunct the moon, the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of January, Saturn is at, the symbol is 15 degrees Pisces, an officer instructing his men before a simulated assault under a barrage of live shells. Remember, we're going to start nice and rough. We're going to finish nice and easy, 2025. The keynote, the need for thorough rehearsing before any complex and inherently dangerous social ritual in which power is used or evoked. And so it's important to remember, we're going to see both sides of power. When we harness our power, and we, in the right way, the proper way, with great power comes great responsibility, is the proper way. But we will also witness its shadow in these first few months. It goes on. This is Dane Rudyear's An Astrological Mandala, the Sabian Symbols. So in this 5th symbol of a series, 5 denoting change, so in this 5th symbol of a series dealing with the confrontation with superpersonal group or occult power, occult meaning wisdom, power, we see a picture which once again synthesizes what the 4 preceding symbols have implied, or rather than stated. In social life, as well as occultism, conflict is always to be expected. One must prepare for it. At the close of the great cycle in the zodiac, the sign Pisces, this is where Saturn currently is in Pisces, and it's the end of the zodiac. Aries begins it, Pisces ends it. A deep-seated struggle is inevitable, at least to some extent. It can be a struggle against the ghosts of the unfulfilled past, the unlived life, or a confrontation with accumulated and often eluded karma. So there's this wanting to avoid and elude karma, the unlived life, what hasn't been achieved. And we see this on the world stage. We see those of a Piscean patriarchal era cleaving to power, not wanting the new to arrive, not wanting to surrender it. I didn't get what I wanted. I haven't finished what I wanted. It's mine, 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 mine. And so individuals go about pursuing this unlived life of the past, the unfulfilled past, the eluded karma. Indeed, Pisces refers to a period in the year during which many generals and admirals have been born. The rules of the game, at least in traditional forms of warfare, can be known. One may have to rehearse the dangerous play, just as our astronauts endlessly rehearsed every step in the moon landings. Individual rashness cannot be tolerated. Even a deliberate sacrifice must play a well-conceived part, like the sacrifice of an important piece in a game of chess. This is the last symbol in scene 23. We've talked about the number 23 and how it has a higher octave to where we are going. The entire scene dealt in various ways with the process of integration of the individual into a social whole, a community, a unity, an occult brother-sisterhood, a wisdom brother-sisterhood. The world before us and the one that came before us. A concluding key word could be valorization. The concept of group value dominates the entire scene. Aquarian age, matriarchal era, we the people. The concept of group value dominates. So here's Saturn, the great teacher, who is both responsible, for the institutions and foundations, so not wanting things to crumble so quickly or expeditiously, and yet ushers in the new and says the group value dominates the entire scene, this entire era, where we're going. The individuality of it, so that piece of that cannot be individual rashness cannot be tolerated. So we have this reckoning, this reconciling, and this reckoning going on, and how these come together with this. So expect through the year, blinded by the light, flashbang, and bang bang, we could have some very volatile things occur in these first few months of 2025. We can have them occur throughout 2025 within ourselves. The point is to remember, individual rashness cannot be tolerated. This is about a social whole, a unity of wisdom, and the concept of group value dominating. And let's just go, because it's our key word here, valorization. The act of thinking or stating that something has value or is valuable. The act of giving value and importance to a person or thing. The attribution of value. What we have come, I think everybody knows, the only thing something has value is because there is a preponderance of souls that say so, that give it such. So any leader, institution, government, currency, business, person, self, the only reason they have value is because there's a belief being attributed to it. So valoration, the act of thinking or stating that something has value or is valuable. The importance here is for all of us to remember in 2025, this is historically, but from this moment on, you're going to see that in number 2 here coming up. From this moment on, value yourself. We talk about love yourself. Well, love yourself enough. Love yourself more. So that in this moment of transition, of major change, where do you place and attribute value? And make sure that it's worthy of the value and the attribution you're giving it. Live Memorex. Don't be part of the herd. Be independent, connected to your soul source connection with great wisdom, and be willing to stand up for what is right and true and valuable. And don't forget that you are part of that value, that valuation. So our main theme, we have many co-themes. I'm going to go to the main theme first here. 2025, the wind beneath my wings, elephant medicine. And of course, the wind beneath my wings, but you see in this image, this beautiful orange sheer fabric floating, hovering and floating above the sea. So the wind beneath my wings, it's wind over water. And this is going to be important. Wind over water. And then elephant medicine. We're going to tie all of this together. But you see, and that beautiful star. So 2025, the wind beneath my wings, elephant medicine. Well, when we then go to, it conjures up, the wind beneath my wings, conjures up, of course, the very famous song covered by Bette Midler. And the lyrics are, "It must have been cold there in my shadow to never have sunlight on your face. You were content to let me shine. That's your way. You always walked a step behind." I'm going to stop there for a minute. See this song and I'll post it on the Facebook Dearjames page afterwards. See this song from a new place, from Father and Son, the Divine Father, Divine Son, from the Son and the Apostle to the Apostle, Mary Magdalene, from your soul speaking to yourself. So your soul source connection speaking to your ego, mind, personality, human. So I was the one with all the glory, while you were the one with all the strength. A beautiful face without a name for so long. A beautiful smile to hide the pain. Did you ever know that you're my hero and everything I would like to be? I can fly higher than an eagle, for you are the wind beneath my wings. It's a reminder that that which is unseen, that which has been minimized, oppressed, suppressed, diminished, ridiculed, ignored, is where the true, is where the purity is, it's where the truth is, it's where the true power lies. And so we have this beautiful song, "The Wind Beneath My Wings," reminding us of the relationship from Divine Father and Divine Son and the Apostle to the Apostles, Mary Magdalene, the divine relationship, and the other, the relationship that we come into this lifetime with and we lead with, that soul source connection, our soul, and quote unquote, the human, the ego, mind, personality, human. It might have appeared to go unnoticed, but I've got it all here in my heart. I want you to know I know the truth. Of course I know it. I would be nothing without you. Did you ever know that you're my hero? You're everything I wish I could be. I could fly higher than an eagle, for you are the wind beneath my wings. And there's a beautiful part at the very end. The outro of the song says, "Fly, fly, so high against the sky, so high I almost touch the sky. Thank you, thank you, thank God for you, the wind beneath my wings." So we have, and remember, this is a theme that's playing out all year, this wind beneath my wings, wind over water, and these divine relationships that have played such a massive part of our history and of our being, and how we are migrating, moving to where the divine masculine, patriarchal, ego, mind, personality, human aspect surrenders, plays a very supportive role. I mean, it is the creative force, but it's going to play this supporting role to the divine feminine, the unseen within us, the soul source connection. This is continuing. You can see how the purpose of Weekly Wisdom and Insights, the truth of it, the thread is continuing. It's getting louder and bigger and stronger as we move forward. By 2026, it's really truly, in 2025, but by 2026, it's a game changer. It's a whole new world. And so we have these. And let me just go to number 2. And I heard a turbulent reprise. Reprise is to repeat. And then I heard, so they say. So against the backdrop of world events, things that are upcoming things. A turbulent reprise, so they say. And then in parentheses, they said, for a brief moment. So a turbulent reprise, so they say, something that's to repeat, for a brief moment. And then it was the song from Shania Twain, From This Moment On. And of course, it's a song about a relationship and everything. A lot of songs in the beginning. So because they're setting the stage for us that from this moment on. So it's almost like get through March, April into early May. We're going to get through these 4 months, because from this moment on, it's a whole other world. It's a whole other place. And then I saw the Ace of Pentacles and the Ace of Wands. So let me just bring these up really quickly so you can see them. Here's the images of them. And so the Ace of Pentacles is a card that embodies the essence of earth energy. So it's going to be tangible. It represents new beginnings and a time of possibility for abundance, prosperity, and being grounded. It indicates a seed being planted in the material world. So this, from this moment on, this change, everything that we're building towards, the wind beneath my wings, air over water, the red, yellow, orange, and you'll see here the Ankh and the capstone, the Eye of Providence. It's ushering in something tangible. The Ace of Pentacles is something tangible. It's earth-based. So we will see it. It's not going to be, quote unquote, airy-fairy. Ace of Wands. The Ace of Wands is a card that embodies the essence of fire energy. It represents the start of a journey, the birth of a new idea, and the initiation of creative projects. It can be interpreted as a sign to follow your passions and new opportunities. We've been talking about purging, cleansing, decay, repairing what's spoiled, emptying our vessels, literally emptying our closets, spring cleaning early. All of these things that allow us to make space for the new. And with the aces in the tarot, the hand emerging, you see in each one, there's a hand emerging from the clouds, one with the pentacle on the left, one with the wand on the right. The hand emerging from the clouds on both cards symbolizes an offering from a divine or external source. So as there's a turbulent reprise, so they say, for a brief moment. And then from this moment on, and it denotes change and travel and relocation and new beginnings. They're tangible, and they can come from divine, the unseen. Everything comes from the divine, from the unseen. However, divine or external sources. So be open, be prepared, be ready to change, to advance, to move forward, to relocate, to end a relationship, to receive one, to change careers or positions, all these different things, to end who we were. That's whole and complete. It's a 9-year. We're completion. It's about completing things. And then making space for what's next. Who are we? What's to come? Because, of course, it goes right to, I'm going to move to Astrology by Lauren. And she is speaking about Mars Unbound. And this is a quote by N.R. Narayana Murthy. Growth is painful. Change is painful. But nothing is as painful as staying stuck where you do not belong. It's entropy. So here the unseen is stating to us, Ace of Pentacles, Ace of Wands. So we've got, the ability. It's tangible. It will be things that bring in prosperity and abundance and so forth. We've got the Ace of Wands, fire. It's the creative force, the ability to do it, to accept it, to face it. Because to not do so to not empty our vessel, to stay stuck, is entropy. It means it's going to decay and fall apart. Well, we don't want that. The unseen does not want that for us. So, Astrology by Lauren. The sun's apparent path around our planet, that which we call the ecliptic, extends as far north as 23 degrees north, 27 arc minutes in the Tropic of Cancer, and as far south as 23 degrees south, 27 arc minutes in the Tropic of Capricorn. The planets in our solar system are usually contained within that range, and this makes sense as they are bound to the sun's gravitational field. But every now and then, when in the signs of Cancer and Capricorn, they will stray beyond the field of influence of our liege lord, the sun, and venture out into the out of bounds. So Mars is going to move beyond, is going to be outside of the bands of the ecliptic, where the sun, which the sun creates. When that happens, the planet is no longer, quote, bound by the usual conventions and laws of the land. Left to their own devices, there is almost an inherent necessity to answer to no one but themselves. And so it is with our warrior planet Mars, which will remain in this out-of-bound territory from January until the first week of April. So all things Mars, our urges, our motives, our assertions, our anger, our noble independence, no longer feels the necessity to have to answer to any authority or to conform to what we usually associate with as being, quote, normal. So this can be a great thing, as Astrology by Lauren is going to say here in a minute, but it can be the shadow side of it, which we talked about at the top of the hour. So Astrology by Lauren, she goes on to say, this can be a good thing. This allows people to stand out and be separate and not go along with the common herd. We just said, find your soul source connection, listen to it, go as guided, follow your true north, and you will have the Ace of Pentacles and the Ace of Wands and the all-seeing eye, the eye of providence, and the Ankh, the key of life. All of it's going to be conspiring with us for our greatness. However, it's a choice. Everything in life is a choice. So you will either experience all of this throughout this year in 2025. You will experience this, or you will experience its shadow aspects because that's what you're claiming. Because this can be a good thing, Mars out of bounds, but it can also be really not good because it's about unrestrained actions. So this allows people to stand up. There is a greater sense of authenticity where we don't feel the need to ask for permission. Carried to an extreme, though, this can wreak chaos and mayhem, mostly through unrestrained actions. And this becomes even more complicated when combined with a retrograde Mars in direct opposition to Pluto, as it was on the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of January, but it was absolutely direct on the 3rd of January. Mars is still in Leo when it makes its opposition to Pluto. Leo is a sign of leadership, royalty, and charisma. And in opposition to powerful Pluto, the first images that come to mind are things like the disposition of the king. It's like the removal of a powerful person. It's like off with your head. A fall from grace, a war between powerful and charismatic leaders, the abuse of power by powerful people. We're seeing this on the world stage. It's playing out before our very eyes. And acts of desperation to hold on to power. This holdover, clinging on the side of the train over the abyss, the train that goes nowhere. It ends. Lauren goes on to say, one of the dangers of Mars in its retrograde is the tendency to internalize the negative qualities of Mars, such as anger, aggression, and frustration. This can be expressed as seething resentment or passive aggression. Nobody likes passive aggressiveness, and nobody needs resentment and seething. These are all shadow sides of Mars. And so again, and Mars is going to be out of bounds, so it's going to be enhanced for these first few months and everything. And with Mars retrograde in Leo, we are likely to see one's arrogance and assumption of power being threatened or cut down to size. Rarely does anyone win in these retrograde periods when we cling to our anger, when we cling to the past, all that decay, that festering stuff. Who wins in that? No one. It's an illusion if you think that you're winning by cleaving to that. Purify your vessel. I mean, ancient religions, you had to purify your human before entering what was sacred and holy. Well, the world before us, the one that came before us and the one that's before us, is holy and sacred. We are holy and sacred. We need to cleanse and purify our vessels, hearts, minds, egos, personalities, so that as we continue to journey forward into the new, from this moment on, we're in alignment, we're in purity with. Because rarely does anyone win in these retrograde periods when we cling to our anger. And the last thing we need is to be carrying all that frustration and anger into the new year. There's a holdover, there's a bridge. I don't want to say a holdover, there's a bridge. Because it's not gonna stay. It's just that we're bridging these energies from the end of 2024 into the beginning of 2025. Lauren goes on to say, perhaps one of the bravest things we can do when confronted by arrogance and bullying is to merely walk away and not engage it. How radical is that? After the opposition, Mars will retrograde back to Cancer, where it will remain until April 17th. Interestingly, several of the planets, Mars, Pluto, Neptune, and Mercury, will be aspecting the nodes of the moon. This is the North Node and the South Node, where we're going, what we're releasing. Our karma is unfolding, and we are all being inexorably drawn along with the tide to fulfill our destinies. We are all here in this place at this time for a reason, which is why the sorts of decisions and choices we make now are so, so important. And this reminds me very quickly, Shirley MacLaine, in her pursuit of her spiritual journey and everything, said, I came to realize, she was speaking about past lives and multi-incarnation and so forth. And she said, if I've been here before and I'll be here again, what I do in this lifetime matters. To Lauren's point, the choices we make now are so, so important. It is not just about our own individual evolutionary growth. This is about the destiny of humanity as a whole, and we're deep into it. Every choice we make, every little bit of resistance, every kindness and action we take contributes to the whole. As we enter 2025, all the planets are either changing or about to change signs. These are the big outer planets that are changing. Within 14 months, they're all changing, which is huge. And there's an upcoming in February, there's an upcoming alignment of, I believe, 7 planets. Pretty rare, very rare. So, and when Pluto entered Aquarius just this past November, we were being asked to not look back at what once was, but to look forward to the possibility of what can be. We are closing out an era. It's a 9-year completions, while giving birth to another. 2026 is a 1-year. And new births always require special care and consideration. And at this point, there is no going back. We have no choice but to look bravely to the future and fulfill our destiny in only the best ways possible. That fulfillment of destiny is a choice. So choose, make good choices, make good decisions. Keep honing, as Colleen's saying, I get sucked in. When you get sucked in, stop and pivot. Immediately stop and pivot. Take stock. Where am I? And you'll hear, I'm in anger, I'm in resentment, I'm in fear, I'm in worry. You're going to find out where you are so that you can immediately pivot to something that brings in a positive, balanced, harmonic, unified choice for yourself. Lauren concludes, 2025 is both pivotal and unprecedented in so many respects. It is a very rare thing for all the outer planets, as well as the nodes of the moon, to change signs within a matter of months. As a result, both the global as well as the personal aspects of our lives are experiencing significant shifts this year, and we are being drawn along for the ride, and no one is exempt. So rather than resisting, let us all lean into our truest and most authentic selves, find our true north, and dedicate ourselves to following that. May we all find the path that will enable us to live our own best lives in these extraordinary times. It's the wind beneath our wings. It's remembering these divine relationships. It's blinded by the light, flashbang, bang, bang, he shot me down, these, and a turbulent reprise, so they say, for a brief moment. But from this moment on, things change. And the Ace of Pentacles and the Ace of Wands, tangible elements. Number 3 from the unseen, the elements. And then I heard Earth, Wind, and Fire, which of course was a singing group. But I heard Earth, Wind, and Fire. And these are the elements we're talking about. Pentacles is earth. Wands represent fire. Wind beneath my wings. So the elements, earth, wind, and fire, are a changin'. Air over water. A stabilizing force. And air over water. So this is about flying over water versus over land. Airplanes, flying. The primary physical difference between flying over water versus land is the lack of significant surface irregularities on water or over water, resulting in generally smoother airflows over water, leading to less turbulence and a more stable flight, compared to flying over land with its varied terrain, mountains, and buildings, which can disrupt air currents significantly. This is mainly due to the concept of boundary layer effects and how air interacts with different surfaces. The point here, water. Water denotes the feminine, our intuition, our emotions. When we are in alignment with soul source connection, true north, we are unified. Our flight through life is smoother. Things flow more easily. There's less turbulence and it's more stable. Compared to flying over land, institutional, things that are man-made. Everything, think about this, everything on the earth that isn't nature, a road, a building, a telephone pole, a vehicle, a house, these are all man-made. Ego, mind, personality, man. So when flying over land, when we're connected to our ego, mind, personality, this can cause turbulence. Because these things, these institutions, homes, and the masks, and the identities, and the labels, and all of these things, they didn't come with Earth. They're constructed by man. They can significantly interrupt our connection to the divine, our soul source connection. So make a choice, 2025, from this moment on, make a choice, because the elements, air, wind, and fire, are a changin'. Air over water, a stabilizing force. We're moving into the Aquarian matriarchal era. Emotion, water, air, with air, all of this Aquarius, the advancement. So air over water. When we combine the elements of the Aquarian age, we the people, unity, uniting, over the elements of water, our intuition, or in combination with them, our true north, our soul source connection. It's a whole different world. It's a whole different way of living. And it comes with great ease and flow and harmony and unity versus where we've been. So that was fascinating to me. I'm gonna quickly cover, because I want to get to two other things. So the red, yellow, and orange, these colors, the red representing the root chakra, yellow, the solar chakra, and orange, the sacral chakra. And just to give you very quickly, so the root chakra governs stability, security, and basic survival. The sacral chakra governs creativity, emotions, and relationships. The relationships with ourselves, this wind beneath my wings, and these divine relationships. It's bringing to our attention, and orange is the color. Orange is the ultimate color. That we're red, yellow, orange. We're moving to red, yellow, orange, sacral. And this sacral is our emotions, our creativity, and our relationships. And then the solar plexus, which is yellow, governs confidence, self-esteem, and personal power. We've said all along, you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. We absolutely want and need a healthy ego-mind personality in service to soul source connection, not the other way around, or not where the soul and soul source connection and the unseen is absent, ridiculed, diminished. No, been there, done that. Now the ego-mind personality sits in the sidecar and of the motorcycle with the sidecar, and your soul source connection, your true north, your soul, the unseen, sits in the driver's seat. It's leading, it's driving. So we have this, and they said red, yellow, orange, a template for success. And I just want to quickly give you, so the spiritual meaning of red is associated with passion, energy, life force, courage, vitality, and love. For yellow, it is happiness, optimism, intellect, creativity, enlightenment, and the energy of the sun, symbolizing clarity, hope, and the solar plexus. It's also linked with self-esteem, personal power, intuition, and spiritual insight. And then last but not least is orange, and it is associated with creativity, energy, optimism, joy, and the connection between the physical and the spiritual realms. Orange, we're moving. So orange is the highest octave that we're looking at, because it's representing the relationship between the connection and the relationship between the physical and the spiritual realms. It also represents a vibrant life force and is often linked to the sacral chakra. So expect with these colors, red, yellow, orange. And I'm going to go into this more in next week's show as well. But it's number 4 from the unseen. So this is foundational. This red, yellow, and orange, the root, the solar, and the sacral chakras, a template for success. And they are the first 3 chakras in the system. So the root, the sacral, and then the solar, moving up the line in the human body. So now let's move to elephant medicine. And this is so beautiful. This is by Jess Hagen, urbanhealersofla.com. And with elephant medicine, the ambition of evolution shows a most noble grace in the grandeur and subtlety of elephant. The oldest surviving matriarch on Earth is a walking library of personal Earth records. The elephant spirit animal totem teaches us how to heal past trauma and use our experiences as tools to expand into more freedom. This encapsulates and epitomizes everything we're talking about. That it's one of the oldest surviving matriarchs, what came before us and what's before us. This golden age, the matriarchal era, and this walking library of experience. And it teaches us how to heal past trauma. There's a lot of trauma. And thus, this is where we are. We're healing this. Yes, Olivia's mentioning the movie 6888. And yes, everybody's talking about this movie. And again, look, a regiment, a unit of Black women, African-American women, demonized and oppressed and suppressed. I haven't watched the movie yet, I'm going to. And how in the face of the times, of the divine masculine, of the patriarchy, they stayed true to their duty, their mission. And in the face of all this avalanche of crud, we're triumphant. This is saying the same thing. Elephant medicine. It's about a totem that teaches us how to heal past trauma and use our experiences as tools to expand into more freedom. We have said over and over again, the unseen has said, do not allow your experiences to define you, but utilize them to refine you. That's what this is speaking to. Weighing over 16,000 pounds and reaching heights of 13 feet, the elephant is a shy and curious giant. The complex subtitles of her emotions and self-expression rival the most sophisticated of human societies. She teaches temperance at any size. With skin like an ancient map, the elephant spirit animal totem teaches that memories are stored as visual, symbolic pictures throughout every cell of our body. Walking with elephant medicine is knowing that body and mind function as one. See, it's the Ahura Mazda rotary engine that we've been talking about, where ego, mind, personality, heart, and soul source connection, they function as one. And I just want to bring in very quickly our quote for this show. This beautiful image of a baby elephant with the mother elephant behind, just gently holding in place as the baby elephant has two forefront feet in the water taking a drink. And it says, the gentle has its own power. It's not being forced. It's not being forced into the water or, run over by the mother and so forth. The gentle, the divine feminine, the gentle has its own power. We don't have to, yell and scream and wield power. We can simply know our power. And in its silence, in its gentleness, it's felt, it's received. It is its own power. Pardon me, Jess Hagen continues, though elephant may feel strong and self-sufficient, she is nothing without companionship. Elephant asks us to find our tribe, the community that brings out the best in us, the people that, quote, just get us and beckon for our growth. She also teaches us how to handle the weight and burden of compulsive memories that bind us to limited perspectives of ourselves and others, and how to forget discord to find joy. See, she doesn't live in the regret and the anger and, the resentment and everything. She finds a way to release it. The elephant spirit animal totem is also a study of the collective and how to find individuality inside the harmony of a community, of unity. So it's individuality within unity. We the people. She teaches the distinction between the collective and the individual. You may be human, but you are not all of humanity. You cannot take responsibility for everyone's actions. The most effective way to heal the world is to step into your own personal power and live a happy life. When you find your power place, you create more space for others to do the same. See, this is emptying the vessel, purging, clarifying, purifying, so that when you find your power place, you've got a clear vessel, a clear space, and that creativity and that creation creates more space for others to do the same. It's that famous, I'll have what she's having line. I think it's from Harry Met Sally. You serve as a priceless example of claiming your right to enjoy life. To Colleen's point before, not getting caught up in. It's instead claiming your right to enjoy life. What others do is what others do. You have no control over that. You can only show up as you. So how we show up, how we dance, the choices we make matter. Jess continues, elephants speak in subsonic rumbles lower than human audibility, and these rumbles travel miles and are heard by distant tribes. Elephant medicine people do not need physical proximity to a loved one to feel connected. The bond between them spans a vast landscape and escapes the limits of time and space. I have a dear, dear friend who said, friends are like stars. You don't always see them, but you know they're there. This speaks to that same aspect. It doesn't have to be physical, and certainly with, FaceTime and Zoom and Skype and all of these modern day Aquarian technologies, relationships are had, bonds are formed without ever meeting somebody in the physical. And equally so, true relationships, you don't have to be in proximity to know they're there. Don't allow insecurities, don't allow these shadow aspects of yourselves. If that's an issue for you, come to terms with it. Be solid in yourself, which means you'll be solid in the relationships you form, the ones you cultivate, and the ones you release, because you'll know to do so. Jess continues, how well have you been listening to the subtle sounds around you? The world is talking. The world is speaking to us in such great measure. The old is over, the new is arrived, it's present, and we are in this bridge, this transition, and thus the world is talking. Learning how to listen teaches us how to learn. We've got to be able to listen. Intuitive, water, the emotions, but the soul source connection, the intuition, the knowing that will guide us forward properly, correctly, true north. Elephant is large, but the world is larger. She is a reminder that there is always enough space for your reality. Elephant feet are highly sensitive to vibrations. Under the inch-thick skin is a gelatinous shock absorber that allows them to stand and bear their weight for long periods of time. They also have the awareness and grace to pause at fragile objects. This masterful agility reminds us to take note of our own impact and influence over the life surrounding us. Throwing weight around unconsciously leads to chaos and pain. This is going back to Mars Unbound and how, again, with great power comes great responsibility. So are you unconsciously swirling power about, throwing your weight around and everything, which leads to chaos and pain? Mindful actions lead to a deeper, more enjoyable experience of the world. Escorting a lost bug off your arm rather than smashing it is good elephant medicine. Refraining from unleashing a torrent of verbal criticism is good elephant medicine. You do not need to prove your strength to have it. It speaks for itself. Power is the ability to not act reactively. It's to respond, not react. Elephant's gentle nature is a visible teaching of the true nature of power. So the mere size, the sheer size of elephant, and yet it can be the most tender. They weep at loss. They emote. They have great connectivity and feeling. So elephant's gentle nature is a visible teaching of the true nature of power. The social structure of elephant society is matriarchal, with the sisters and aunties helping all mothers to raise their young together as a family. And so when you see a herd of elephants, you are looking at only women and children. Male elephants strike out on their own when they reach adulthood and do not form communities like their womenkind. Male elephants do sometimes form temporary friendships with another male for months or years, traveling as a pair for a time to various watering holes. But the core success of elephant life is found in the female tribes. This sisterhood energy does not exclude men. It recognizes the different natures between them and allows for those differences. This epitomizes we don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. We don't demonize the divine masculine, the men in our world and society. We are all divine masculine and divine feminine. Everything's purposeful. And so when we, like elephant medicine, when we allow and yet lead, so allow for the differences and yet lead with the divine feminine, soul source connection, things work out. They work out well. So this sisterhood energy does not exclude the men. Feminine energy is creative and communal. Masculine energy can be destructive and singular. So it has a raw force and power to it, and it can be autonomous, singular. Both energies reside in each of us and balance each other out. Masculine elephant medicine explores solitude. Their sense of belonging does not need a constant outward social structure. So this is when you know who you are inside, when your soul source connection, when you've emptied your vessel, when you've purified and cleansed, repaired what was decayed. There's this sense of autonomy. It's a divine masculine trait. It's wholeness that is then harnessed by the divine feminine aspects within us. So that when we wield power, we do so in a proper way. Thus, elephant tribes are governed by a matriarch who is the eldest mother among them. Wisdom, the eldest, wisdom. She remembers all the ancient watering holes taught to her by her mother and her mother's mother since the beginning of elephant time. The matriarch guides her family single file across the plains to life-giving streams and feeding grounds. She teaches as she was taught, all her wisdom to her daughters who will lead the tribe after she is gone. In this way, elephant medicine maintains an unbroken legacy of life learning, impossible to find in books. The daughter who remembers the teachings the best is the one who will step forward to become the next matriarch. The matriarch is dearly loved by all her daughters, sisters, and aunties, who often pet her and lavish affection upon her. When a matriarch dies, her tribe forms a circle around her body and weeps for her. The grave sites of lost elephants, like the grave sites of our own departed, are clearly remembered by family members and revisited years after the passing. Elephants in mourning have also been seen embracing the bones of the lost loved ones. She holds instruction on how to grieve and release the anger of loss. If someone has transitioned out of your life in some way, call on Elephant to guide you through that process of heartbreak. Her first lesson is to remind you that the heart cannot break. It only bends. In bending, it grows larger and more capable of holding the wonders of life. We allow it to refine us, not define us. Elephant Spirit Medicine calls on the community for support. No single success was ever achieved alone. Behind each success story is an intricate network of support. One could say an intricate tapestry of support. Supporting others brings support to your own life. Do unto others as you would have done to you. We're only as strong as the least among us. This is elephant medicine. Behind each success story is an intricate network of support, this intricate tapestry. Supporting others brings support to your own life. It's how we share. I want to quickly go to our mantra. It is a continuation, a bridge from the previous show, the last show of December, in December of 2024. Fly like an eagle, because the wind beneath my wings, this elephant medicine, these sacred and divine relationships, we are being guided and encouraged and reminded to fly like an eagle. So with that, let me go to number 5. And this is a big one, and I'll come back to Olivia's comment here in a second. Number 5 and number 6 go together. 5 denotes change, 6 denotes spirit and service. And the unseen said, much unfolding for all in the coming year, parentheses, years. So much unfolding for all in the coming years. A beautiful, quote, most ancient tapestry is unfurled for all to see. For the very first time. What it depicts will be shocking in the most beautiful of ways. And so we have this, and we've used these images. I just want to bring them up. So this most ancient tapestry is unfurled. We've had this image of the divine feminine with the setting sun and the purple and the umbers and the oranges and the reds and the yellows and this sheer fabric. And then we've also had this image of we carry the mantle of freedom forward. Again, a desert scape with this beautiful, from almost whites into the purple and the yellows, and this shimmering fabric, this tapestry, this most ancient tapestry is unfurled. And what it depicts will be shocking in the most beautiful of ways. So again, there's an aspect here, and it's number 5, change, number 6, spirit and service, as above, so below, all of these really pretty extraordinary astronomical celestial events occurring end of last year into the beginning of this year, throughout this year. All the major heavy hitter outer personal planets changing signs, the nodes, the nodes of the moon changing signs, all of this, 7 planets lined up, all of this is happening in 2025, end of 2024 into 2025, front loaded. So we're starting things nice and rough. We're going to finish things nice and easy. And I just want to go quickly about unfurl. And to unfurl something is to unfold it so that it may be displayed or take shape in the wind. There's a wind element to this. So again, wind over water. Last but not least, let me just take this. Livia saying, what you are saying, James, is focus on ourselves rather than on others and what they want us into. When we do that, we give away our own power to them. We diminish ourselves. Keep our power by surrendering to ourselves and our inner soul source connection. Keep our power. Don't give it away in the face of negativity. We choose what we focus on. Yes, it is to not get sucked in. It is to not give away our power. And it's to remember that we are whole and sovereign. It is about the choices we make. And thus, as we navigate 2025, as we move into 2026, but we're just at the beginning of 2025, the choices we make matter. Our sovereignty matters. What we choose to align ourselves with matters. Everything matters. And thus, remember that even to Olivia's point, rather than get sucked into something by someone else, they're a mirror for us. They're playing a part in our play. What they want of us is reflecting something that our soul is purposeful. It said it wanted to experience, meaning not that we get sucked into it and go along and we lose our power. No, it's the exact opposite. It's to see what's what and to recognize, this is something that you need. And what I need to do is to hold the line or not succumb to it and surrender myself, subjugate myself in that way. What I need to do is listen to is my soul, my intuition, my knowing. And when it guides me to go along, so be it. When it guides me to not go along, so be it. And be willing to stand up for that so that each of you, because otherwise we're enabling ourselves, we're enabling others. And that's not the moral of the story. The story is to triumph. It is to transcend. It is to achieve, to overcome. So that at each moment, each step, imagine that unlayering, that unfolding. It's like an onion. You get to the pearl in the center eventually. It's like the pearl. It's an irritant. It's a grain of sand within the oyster that creates the pearl. So allow these experiences to refine you, not define you. And stay true. Listen to your soul source connection. Stay true. last but not least, I just want to show you, because these are, again, going to be main themes. This was the astrological chart from the Capricorn new moon that was on December. And notice that we have changed the theme of 2025. We changed from a capstone moment, Ben Ben and Bennu. 2025 is now the Big Bang felt round the world. We've talked about blinded by the light, flashbang, bang, bang. So the Big Bang felt round the world. It's denoting big change. And again, the first 3, 4, 5 months of 2025 may be rough. But we're going to finish smoothly, easily. And on the left side of the image, we have the Ankh. And the Ankh is, in ancient Egypt, it's the key of life. And it may represent water, air, and the sun, which were meant to provide and preserve life. So we have the Ankh symbol, and on the right side is the Eye of Providence, the all-seeing eye, the capstone. So you see this continuation, this 2024, a capstone moment. Now, and here's, just to bring it up quickly, is the chart, and here's all that beautiful, from red to the yellow, orange. And we see that, and this is the chart for the Pluto conjunct the moon opposite Mars retrograde. The Ankh and the Eye of Providence, the all-seeing eye, the capstone. And number 7 from the unseen, they said, return to the water, the living waters, and how this will restore us. This is where we will find our true nature, our true selves in this most magical journey called life. So nothing, there's nothing here that is short of a lot to take in, a lot to process. It's both inspiring and a little unnerving, but more inspiring. So don't buy into anything that's unnerving. Just flow. Flow with everything as it comes. What's the next step? What's the next step? Because we are in, and we brought this up, 2025, just bringing this up, this beautiful image from the bridge from last year, coming into 2025, we are in a tower window, a tower moment. And we're going to need to walk through it with grace and ease, so that by the time we get to the other side where it's nice and easy, we just have a sense of joy. I'm just going to bring up the sunflowers. We have this sense of joy of, we did it. We made it. And remember, you have these 2 most precious elements that are a part of us, which are the Ace of Pentacles and the Ace of Wands. This hand from the divine, from the unseen, reaching out. And notice, the beautiful golden pathway on the Ace of Pentacles, the pathway, the white lilies, the beautiful arbor in the background with the mountains. When you move over to the Ace of Wands on the right, the wand, it's a living wand. It's got sprouts on it. And thus you see what's beyond the arbor in the Ace of Pentacles, in that seed that's being planted. Well, again, you see the castle. You have the living waters, the river, they're moving, they're living waters. You have all that green, all that nature, abundance. It's vitality. All of this is within us. All of this is on offer this year. There's a lot here. And this most magical, most ancient tapestry unfurled. And to unfurl, make or become spread out from a rolled or folded state, especially to be open to the wind. Look to the heavens, look to the skies, blinded by the light, flashbang, bang, bang, this most ancient tapestry that's being unfurled, so as to be open to the wind over water, the wind beneath my wings. Elephant medicine. Woo! We will continue to unpack all of this, I am certain, over the next few weeks of the show. This is it in a nutshell for 2025. I love you all. Thank you all so much for showing up and being a part of the weekly Wisdom and Insights tribe, family, soul family. You all are precious. I can't imagine the journey without you. So thank you for always being present and participating. And we will see you next week.